When Jenna moved into the old brick building on Holloway Street, the landlord warned her of only one thing: don't knock on the door of apartment 3B ever. She thought he was joking. The place was dirt cheap in a city where rent chewed you alive. So she nodded, signed the lease, and didn't ask questions. The first few nights were quiet. The walls were thin. She heard muffled conversations, old plumbing moans, and footsteps pacing above her, normal city sounds. Until one night at 3:17 a.m. she heard a knock. It came from her side of the wall, the one shared with 3B. Knock, knock, knock. 3 precise taps, not frantic, not slow, just deliberate. Jenna sat up in bed holding her breath. Maybe it was pipes or a neighbor being weird. Still, she didn't check. The next night, it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. She crept to the wall and pressed her ear against it. Silence. No whispers, no shuffling, just cold, still air. She asked the landlord about it the next day. He looked older somehow. His hands trembled slightly as he passed her the rent receipt. I told you not to mess with 3B. But someone's knocking. There's no one in that unit, not anymore. That night, Jenna couldn't sleep. Curiosity gnawed at her. At 3:17 a.m., right on schedule, knock, knock, knock. This time, she knocked back. Silence. Then something scratched the wall. Long, dragging scratches. Her lights flickered. Her phone screen cracked on her nightstand. Jenna screamed. The next morning, she tried the door to 3B. It was locked, chained, and coated in dust. No signs of anyone coming or going. But taped to the door was a note. The paper looked water-damaged and yellowed like it had been there for years. Written in shaky handwriting, if you hear them knock, never knock back. That's how they know you're listening. Jenna doesn't live there anymore. She doesn't sleep well either. Not since she started hearing knocks in her new apartment. There's no 3B in this building. But the knocking always comes at 3:17, and it's getting louder. The silence in apartment 3B, part 2, the listener. Jenna moved states, threw out her phone, burned the note from the door. She thought leaving would end it. For a while, it did. Then one night at 3:17 a.m., her doorbell rang. Not a knock, a ring. She didn't move. Ding dong. She watched from her peephole. No one was there. But in the morning, she found 3 long scratches across her door. Not carved by a key, not a prank. These had depth, like claws, and something wet had pooled beneath them. She visited a local library, desperate for answers. In the dusty archives, she found a forgotten case file, yellowed photos and scribbled notes from the 1970s. It mentioned an entity called the listener. It haunted apartment buildings, chose one door, waited for someone to acknowledge it. It's not just a spirit, the notes read. It's an echo that wants form. Once you listen, it learns you. Once you answer, it follows. One survivor wrote, I moved 12 times. It rang, it scratched, it whispered. It said it would stop if I let it in. Jenna threw up in the library sink. That night, she unplugged her doorbell. At 3:17, it rang anyway. She didn't open the door. She barely breathed. At 3:18, her bathroom faucet turned on. By itself. The water ran red. She decided to record the night, camera pointed at the front door. When she played the footage back the next day, the hallway behind the peephole showed something moving, but distorted, as if reality blurred around it. Frame by frame, it grew clearer. Taller than a man, hollow eyes, mouth stitched shut. Then it stared directly at the camera and smiled. Jenna tried to warn others, posted online. Only one person replied, You answered it too, didn't you? They sent an address, a church in the mountains, a final refuge for the listened. Jenna's packing now. She hasn't slept in 3 days, because last night at 3:17, her mirror fogged over, and a message appeared in the condensation. You knocked, now open the door. The silence in apartment 3B, part 3, the Church of No Echo. Jenna drove through the night, no GPS, no phone, just an address scribbled on the back of a library receipt. Church of No Echo, mile marker 31, Old Pine Pass. The mountains swallowed her cell signal. Radio static filled the silence, but still at exactly 3:17 a.m., the car heater clicked on by itself. The vents blew cold. She didn't look in the rearview mirror. She felt something sitting behind her. At dawn, the church appeared, small, black wood, no windows, half buried in fog, no steeple, no cross, only a tarnished brass plaque. Speak not, hear not, answer never. Jenna knocked once. The heavy door creaked open. Inside, it was silent. Not quiet, silent, like the building had been dipped in vacuum. Even her footsteps made no sound. The congregation sat motionless, facing forward. Dozens of people in dark coats, eyes closed, lips sewn shut, and at the pulpit, a tall woman in white, pale eyes, hair the color of old ash. She opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came. She pointed to Jenna's ears, then her throat, then held up 3 fingers. 3 questions. Only yes or no. No sound. No lies. Jenna nodded, 1 finger up. The woman mouthed, "Did you knock?" Jenna closed her eyes, nodded, 2 fingers. "Did it follow you here?" Jenna hesitated. Tears welled up. Then she nodded again. The woman's face fell, 3 fingers. "Did you ever let it in?" Jenna started to shake her head, but stopped. A memory surfaced. That first night, the knock, the scratch, the whisper from her closet, "Please," and the smallest crack she left in the door, just once. Yes, she had let it in. The woman in white backed away, horrified. The congregation turned, all at once. Their mouths split wider than human, no longer sewn shut. They screamed, but it made no sound. A shape seeped through the cracks of the church walls, like smoke in reverse, curling inward. The temperature dropped. Wooden beams wept black resin. The listener had arrived. Jenna ran. She didn't remember leaving. Only the cold, the black trees. The echo of her name called inside her head. She's back in the city now. No one remembers the church. Old Pine Pass doesn't show up on any map. But Jenna's not alone, because in the new building she hides in, someone lives in apartment 3B. And every night at 3:17 a.m., a gentle voice whispers behind the wall, "I'm in now. Can I speak?" She doesn't answer, not anymore, but her mouth moves while she sleeps. The silence in apartment 3B, part 4, the last knock. Jenna stopped counting the days. Sleep came in fragments. Food lost all taste. Mirrors fogged even when the air was cold. And the knock never missed its time. 3:17 a.m., sharp, heavy now, less like a request, more like a warning. She didn't open the door, not anymore, but the sound was inside her now. When she tried to speak to neighbors, no words came. Her voice worked, but every time she tried to say what happened, her throat would close like a hand was around it. She tried writing it out, but the paper burned in her hands. One morning she found a message carved into her wall above her bed, the letters jagged and trembling. "You're already home." Jenna sought out the church again. Gone. The forest road was just trees now. Not even ashes remained. She tried hospitals, they gave her pills. She tried priests. They left the room mid-prayer, sweating and whispering, "She's been touched." She tried ending it, once. The cold water of a bathtub, razor in hand, no hesitation. But at 3:17, the bathroom door opened slowly, and she heard her own voice say, "That's my way out too." She woke up in her bed, dry, uncut. The razor lay beside her on the pillow, clean. On her final night, Jenna made one decision. She turned every light off, sat in front of her door, and waited. No fear, just resolve. 3:17 arrived, but this time there was no knock. Just breathing. Heavy, deep, inches from the door on the other side. Then her doorknob twisted, slow and steady, unlocked itself, swung inward, and standing there, in the dark hallway, was her. Another Jenna. Same face, same eyes, except the mouth was stitched closed, and the eyes were smiling. In her last seconds, Jenna didn't scream. She whispered, "I know who you are now." The stitched Jenna leaned in and finally spoke, through thread, through blood. The voice was a whisper from every wall. No, you know who you've always been. Then silence. Jenna was never found. The apartment is empty now, but late at night, new tenants hear soft knocking from the inside of the walls. Always at 3:17 a.m. They say if you listen too closely, you can hear her voice, still whispering. Don't open the door, please. Not again.